Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Today we have an interview. It's actually a recording of a webinar that Honey Woods and I did in our Q4 success group that wrapped up last night. And it's about what's next, how to start off 2021 with a bang, tips for keeping carrying that 2020 Q4 momentum into 2021, because sales have not stopped. And in fact, I believe they're going to continue to increase. I believe that more people are going to be finding online, buying online. My father-in-law, who never shops, very rarely shops online, they bought all of their Christmas presents on Amazon. And I believe many people are doing the same thing. They just don't want to go to the stores. And I believe that trend is going to continue. My friend Skip McGrath wrote an email a few days ago, and in it had an article from, I'll put the link in the show notes. This is episode 74. Go to streamsofincomeradio.com and you'll be able to see this article here. But the title is Online Holiday Sales Grew Nearly 50% in 2020. Guys, that's incredible. It's an incredible increase. And I think it's just going to continue. And so those of you that are selling online, that know how to sell physical products online, man, you are in a great position. I know while many folks in the world were going through some very tough stuff, especially financially, people that lost their job, people in my group, some of them had their best years ever. Many of them had their best years ever because they're online sellers and folks were buying online. And so they were able to take advantage of that. And businesses were blessed, even though, much of the world was going through some tough stuff. So that was really cool to see. And so I want you to be a success story. And I'd love to invite you to join us in our Legends group. We call it a Legends family because it really is a family. You can try it out for $1. In that group, we teach you the strategies to be successful online. Even if you've never sold a single thing before, we can help you move forward on your own success path. Just go to amzlegends.com/$ to get it for $1. The link will also be in the show notes at streamsofincomeradio.com. Here is my webinar with Honey. This does not end. What we talked about, it's a continual process, and we always have people asking us, so great, Q4 is over, what do we do now? And to boil it down, if you have to leave this webinar early, at the point is just keep doing what we've been teaching you to do. Just continue working, continue putting in the effort. And because Honey and I'll go through a few slides here, because sales still happen. People still buy in January. A lot of us still have amazing Januaries. And so we'll go into those, but feel free to ask questions that you have. We want to answer those, and we'll give you an opportunity to continue this momentum beyond the Q4 groups. Honey, you want to say hi? And
hi guys. No, yeah, it's been fun. I think for all of us, 2020 was pretty crazy. So, I'm sure the Q4 groups were just a little different. And I'm looking forward to hearing some feedback from you guys. It was a lot of fun, and, yeah, now we get to talk about what's next.
That's right. So let's do it. So yay, we made it through 2020. Feels like that. Fireworks going off. I know the last few episodes on my podcast, I've talked more about, this type of thing where, guys, 2020 has been probably the roughest year for a lot of people. And I could point to so many people who are close to me that are going through some very crazy things, serious things, depressing things. And it seemed like it all happened in 2020. We just saw our friend Travis, Honey, remember he posted that his dad was on the way home from his brother's funeral, from Travis's brother's funeral, and had a car accident. Like, just come on, my goodness. This has to end.
Yeah. Stop. This is 2021. It needs to be
This
done,
is 2021. Let's turn a new chapter. But,
yes.
but so many people are going through some crazy stuff. And I know a lot of you probably some of you have been sick or know somebody that's been sick, or maybe you've lost a job or get hours cut or whatever. But I believe you are in the best place. Chris Grant of Tactical Arbitrage talked about the amount of sales in the Q4 2020 through Amazon. Skip McGrath just posted an awesome article. It's from e-commerce. Actually, I'll just post a link here. It's really, really good.
I mean, think about it, guys. I know that I have, I've got 6 kids and life is crazy and the world is crazy. And yeah, we still get out and do things, but it's not the same as it used to be. I'm not going to lie. And so we order way more online than I even used to, and that's, yes. And I mean, we're middle of nowhere, Midwest, so I can only imagine how many more people are like that if that's what we're doing. So this is a great, great, great place to be. There are a lot of people, honestly, I mean, with that sadness, there are people that have lost jobs or maybe had their hours cut or things have changed with that. And e-commerce is an incredible place to be. It really is.
Really is. And that's so I'm excited that we were. And what's cool, honey, about it is that seeing so many people in our Legends group and in this Q4 group that had record years.
Yeah.
And it's, it's bittersweet. It's obviously sad that it was because of why it was, but
they were able to get people the things that they needed that they couldn't otherwise get, or that they had we had more challenges to get the things that we needed to. And so it just, it really is. It's
many folks had hit like their 2019 sales in the middle of 2020. And just exploded their sales because of everything that happened in the world. So guys, you are in the right place. Learn this business, just keep doing the work. And I really am just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to be an e-commerce seller, because it kind of helped us weather the storm. And it was just neat to see these testimonials and all these groups of people that, have had record years in the midst of when most people were having, their worst years financially. So really, really cool. Okay, so we made it. So I want to talk a little bit about goal setting. And first thing is, and we'll talk about what I do maybe a little bit, and then what Honey does. I think it'll be freeing for you, because hear everybody talk about goals. I'm like, if you're not a goals person, or if you've ever set a goal and you've not attained it, and you do that over and over again, you can kind of get burned out on the word goals and like, that's just not for me. And that's okay, because there's another way to kind of go about it. First of all, what I would say to do is evaluate 2020. Look at what happened in 2020. Did you hit the goals that you had? Some of you exploded the goals, went way past what you thought was possible. Of course, at the beginning of 2020, we had no idea what was coming. But look back at your sales. Are you happy with that? Or are you upset about that? Did you make the amount of money you wanted to make? If not, then set new goals and figure out what you need to do differently for 2021 to hit those goals. I don't think that I think the trend for online buying is going to continue. If you look at that article that Skip McGrath posted, it said that holiday sales, online sales, were up 50%. That's insane. And I don't think it's going to go with all the, you're hearing stories of, other countries going into lockdown again and the new strain of the virus. I think, people who are scared of it are going to stay home and continue to buy online. And that gives you an opportunity to serve them and to allow goods to come straight to their door. And where are they going to shop? They're going to shop on Amazon. That's a big place. And of course, there's other places too. But the fact that you know how to sell online gives you a huge advantage and a great way to serve folks who might be stuck at home and can't get out or don't want to get out. But what happened in 2020? Look back and figure out, am I happy with that? What could I have done differently? And start setting goals based on what you wanted to happen in 2020. And also, I would say there's a couple different types of goals. There's like the numbers goals, like I want to hit $1 million in sales. And then you take that number and that means I need to sell, $83,000 a month. And that means I need to sell 20 some thousand or no, yeah, 20 some $1,000s a week and per day. And how many units do I have to sell? And for some people that really works, like our friend Jimmy Smith, that he is very good at, having those types of goals. But some of us do better with, I'm going to set a goal like that, but I'm not going to let it completely demoralize me if I don't hit it. I'm going to focus on what do I need to do January 1st through January 7th, and then January 7th through the 14th, each week, or maybe each day. Maybe you set aside a day and say, Monday is my shipping day. I'm going to be out shopping all weekend, and I'm going to get home and I'm going to ship it all out on Monday. And that's my thing. If I can just do that, then I'm going to have a successful year. Then just focus on that. Maybe for you, it's spending a certain amount of money every weekend and getting it home and getting it all out the door. For some people, that's so much easier to focus than worrying about some big, large number. You just think, okay, I just got to do this. I got to go out and shop on these 2 days and I got to ship it on these days. And if I can continually do that consistently, I'm going to get to those numbers that I want. So, honey, talk about a little bit what you do. I know it's a little bit different. It may not be so regimented and you have to do it a different way because you have 6 kids in your homeschool.
I have to be flexible. So first I will say that for when we first started, it was literally like, we're going to go sourcing this day and this day. Like we would set like 2 to 3 days a week that we would go sourcing. And then we're going to get at least 1 shipment out every week. So it was still a goal, and we made sure that we were doing that. So stuff wasn't just sitting around and we'd be like, oh, we're not doing anything. We guess we should ship something out. We still had some kind of goals, but it was not, when we first started, we weren't living off of it anyway. So it was just making sure that we were continuing to move forward and not just letting it be a hobby. We were trying to be intentional about it, but it was very vague goals. And then obviously that grew as it became more of something where it was more of an income for our family and not just, a little bit of extra money on the side. So as we grew it, we changed that a little bit. The beginning of 2020, I was still doing to some extent, I was like, okay, I'm going to go sourcing. I would go sourcing Monday and Wednesday, sometimes Monday and Tuesday, depending on what was going on with my kids. And we go do RA sourcing those days. And then I would go take all of my stuff to the prep center, either Wednesday or Thursday. And then they would get it out that week, within those few days there. So that was my routine. Now this is how much I need to spend this month, a rough estimate or whatever. And then you kind of break that down. So I kind of did a little bit of that. But like you said, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I didn't get that much spent. My world is over. Everything's awful. Right. Because, to me, with all of this, the flexibility of this is what I needed. I'm raising 6 kids and I'm homeschooling. And so my biggest priority was not that I am selling, $2 million of product a year. I want to be able to pay my bills, live comfortably, I want to be able to have some of that extra to be able to help and to serve and to do other things. But that is not my huge top priority that I'm like, I have to make more money. Mine is like, if it's between making a few extra bucks and spending an extra hour with my kid that's having a hard day, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that anybody that doesn't do that is wrong. That's a huge priority right now for my family. So there's flexibility with that. Even with my kids' homeschool, we have a routine, we have somewhat of a schedule, but it's a flexible schedule. And there are days sometimes, if any of you guys homeschool, there are days like, okay, this is not going to be all these things I had listed to do today. It's not going to happen like that. And so some of that's just kids in general, but that's just kind of how we run things. I do like to have routines and schedules and lists and all of that, but it has to be with flexibility, being that I am doing this as a mom of 6 kids and homeschooling. Absolutely. So there's that. When I had to do the pivot this year, and this is why I like that I have the flexibility of all of this. When all of the COVID stuff started getting crazy and I had to pivot a little, I was like, oh no, okay, I can't do the normal. I've got to go sourcing this day and then get the stuff to the prep center. Honestly, even through parts of Q4, my prep center, they had people that were in and out with COVID. They had it blocked off for a while where I couldn't even do RA drop-offs if I wanted to. So I was really glad that I was doing, I had switched over to OA. At one point I switched over completely OA. just because of, everything that was going on. It was the right fit, but there was definitely some bumps in the middle of there that if I would have been like, I'm a failure if I don't send in this much and if I don't get these things in, so you need to give yourself some grace with your goals, just goals in general, but especially when you're doing things like this, sometimes you're going to have to pivot. 2020 showed us that, probably unlike any other year. Sometimes you do have to pivot and reevaluate. So for me, I want to make sure that I'm spending approximately this much a month, and then you can break that down into your weeks. But there are some times I don't quite get to that, and I try to make up for it the next time, because it's not something that maybe this isn't a good business thing, but it works for my family. It's not a extremely strict whatever. I do still have things though of that I need to get a shipment out every week. I need to be ordering stuff multiple days a week. Now I have some things in my replens that will cycle through sales and cycle through other things. So I keep track of those. So I know it may not be something that I order, every other week, or sometimes it's, once a month or whatever. I try to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on those things, but there's definitely some flexibility with that. That I do OA, sometimes stuff takes a little longer. You guys all know how shipping is going right now. Sometimes things get right there, and sometimes they take their precious time getting delivered. And so there's had to been a little flexibility, but I'm still making sure, yes, I'm spending, these days are when I'm going to focus on ordering. And then sometimes I throw in an extra little thing in there after my kids go to bed if I need to. And then I'm making sure that I'm getting the stuff uploaded to my prep center so they know this is what needs to go out. This is what needs to happen. And honestly, you guys, continuing to send in, continuing to make sure that my stuff is getting taken care of with my business every day. Yeah. It may be little bits, very little bits someday. I'm not spending, 5, 10, 15 hours every day doing all this stuff. There are some days where it's just a tiny little blip. That's all I touch the business. And then there are other days I spend more time on it. So you got to figure out what works for your business. You do need to have goals though, because if you don't, then you're going to end up doing, like when we first started, we would just go find some great deals on clearance, and then they would just sit in our office. It would take forever. And, you guys have been doing this for a while, especially before we really focused on replens or anything. It was like stuff just sat there and the price would tank. By the time we got it in, we're like, oh no,
it doesn't make you any money sitting at your house.
No. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you have some goals, whether you do need to have some kind of a financial goal, instead of just winging it and hoping for the best, some kind of a goal. It's okay if you don't reach that. It's okay if you have to pivot, but set some kind of a goal that you're like, this is what I would like to do. Make it a realistic one too. I know Christy talked a little bit about goals at the beginning of all the Q4 groups. Make it something realistic. If you are only selling, $1,000 a month and you want to sell $1 million next year, you're going to have to either put in some serious money or serious time to get to that, So make it, I'm not saying don't reach for the stars, but, make it where it's actually something that is attainable, so that you don't feel like, oh my goodness, there's no way I'm ever going to do this. Maybe set it a little bit above what you think you can do. So.
Right. You can also, I've heard other people say what works for them is having different sets of goals. Like my conservative goal, like I have to hit this, like it'd be nice to hit this, but oh wow, if I have an amazing year, this would be where I'd be. So it's okay to set a few different goals. But the main thing, guys, it really just comes down to taking action. You have to take action every single day, do something, at least every week in your business. And I love what Honey said. She may have just a few minutes on some days, but yet her business still runs. Do you feel like you're kind of in you kind of just have a flow now where it's like, you just go in and make sure replens are taken care of, and maybe once in a while, maybe more than once in a while, but you're going in and finding new ones, but at least you know that, you're going in and checking where your inventory level is. And it
really depends on, there are seasons. Honestly, with Q4, you've got holidays and everything else going on. So there are seasons that I'm not as much jumping in and just adding, but every week, make sure I add new replens to every shipment. Awesome. So sometimes that looks like a lot more, and sometimes it looks like a little bit more, just depending on what's going on, whether it's, funds or whether it's just time. And okay, you know what? Cool. But I'm continuing every single shipment. I do send in new replens with every shipment, and then add to the replens I already have, which that right there is what has saved me. I can't even tell you how many hours that I'm not digging for every shipment to be like, okay, what in the world am I going to send in this time? I add to that because there are going to be some things that are less profitable, or maybe they didn't sell as fast as you hoped they would. But at the same time, I have kind of that base. This is what I know. I can send in more of these things and they're going to sell. And so making sure that I'm doing that every week, just that is like a huge weight lifted off of me, that I'm not having to think of every single shipment. What in the world am I going to send in?
Right.
So yeah,
that's awesome. So you're always testing new replens about every time
absolutely.
you send in
every
something.
time.
That's cool.
At
So
least some every time. I do have, I mean, there's times where I just, you find like this, a brand or a source or something, and you're like, holy smokes, I just found a bunch, and you just add a lot. And I have times like that. And then times where I'm just, it's life. And I just don't spend a lot of time focusing on that. I can find that whenever I stop and focus on it, but there are times that I don't spend a lot of time to focus on that, and I get less, but there are always, every single shipment I have new things going in. So
I love it. That's awesome. So you're kind of just growing little by little every single time you send in something. That's really cool. Guys, if I know a lot of you that are already listening to this or on here tonight, you're our Legends members. So remember, inside the Legends group, you have that Know Your Numbers course that Chris Lovelace did. And in that is a cool worksheet, a spreadsheet worksheet that you can enter in like your goals and your average sale price and all that. And it'll calculate basically down to how much you need to spend to hit your goals. So sometimes that's easier for somebody to be, instead of thinking, oh, I want to sell $500,000 this year. Well, it feels like there's not you can back that down to what you need to do. But that sometimes seems just like way out here in never land of 500,000 or $1 million. Like, I don't really know how. That sounds awesome, but I really don't know what to do to get there. But he boils it down to, I need to spend $5,000 a week. And so that just makes your job all this is finding inventory. So it just means you got to find a lot more inventory to be able to sell more. And so that's inside the Legends group. It'll be in one of the units for that course. It's also in the membership site as well. If you guys want to join Legends, you'll get access to that, because I think that would help out a lot of people. So let's talk about tips to start 2021 off with a bang. And we've kind of already touched on this a little bit. I mean, Honey's definitely mentioned this, and we'll talk about it more, because this is the key. And really, guys, it is this. Just keep doing the work. Keep sending product in. There's not a secret to this. The secret is just working, just making it happen, just consistently doing it, consistently finding new inventory. What Honey just said, every single shipment that she's sending out, she's testing some new replens. She's always looking for more replens to sell to increase her business. Some of those work, some of those don't, but she's always testing new ones. But just keep doing the work, keep sending it in.
There are a lot of people that you'll hear, talk about just January sales are horrible. And most of them, if you have a discussion and figure out what's going on, they've just been like, well, it wasn't Q4, Amazon said, don't send anything else in. And so I didn't send anything else in. You can't sell if you're not sending in. That's just the bottom line. If you are doing Amazon, if you're doing FBA, especially if you aren't sending anything in, then you can't sell it. The sales do look different when it's not smack in the middle of Q4 right before Christmas. But things are still selling. People, I'm sure any of you would tell me, oh yeah, I ordered this from Amazon this week, so people are still buying. And this is your opportunity to make sure and get that product there for them so they can buy it. Don't just stop sending in, or it will not be, there won't be anything for people to buy. So yeah, I mean, that's just all the time thing, but I think it's probably most forgotten right after Q4, because people just think I just did all this work and there was all these huge sales, and now sales are slowing down. That doesn't mean they stop. So you need to make sure that you're continuing to keep product in there.
Yep. And think about all the gift cards that people got at
January
Christmas.
is huge for that, you guys.
Where are people Amazon gift cards are huge because it's so easy to go online and just purchase one and have it sent by email. We had a couple of winners in our Q4 group. For one was for the counting the amount of candy. And what was the other one we just did?
They posted pictures
Oh,
of
post a
their
picture of the
shipments
shipment.
and stuff.
And so those two winners both got an Amazon gift card. All I needed was their email address, and I sent it
And they
right
can
to
get
them.
whatever they want. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, how many
Amazon
people
has everything.
Yep. How many people got Amazon gift cards that are watching this even and think, what are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to go back to Amazon. You're going to spend that money. So people still buy in January. So the point is just keep doing the work. That's it. I mean, that might sound like, oh, give us some super secret sauce for continuing 2021. Awesome. Well, just keep doing the work. Keep doing exactly what you've been teaching and what you've already been doing in Q4. Just continue to do it. A lot of people, what's cool about this business, guys, too, is there's some folks that just live for Q4 and they just work really hard in Q4 and they take a lot of the rest of the year off. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. I know some of you are just doing this maybe for some side income. Totally cool. That's what I love about this. If you want to make a few extra dollars, you can do it. If you want to make a few $1,000s, you can do it. If you want to make several thousand or way more than that per month, you can do it. It just depends on how much product you're sending in. That's really what it comes down to. So make this business, have it meet the needs that you have. It can totally do that, but just keep doing the work. Okay. Next one. Don't hold on to seasonal clearance. Honey,
you may not hear this a lot of different places, but you will definitely hear this in the Legends group. You'll hear this in the Q4 groups and all the people that are in leadership there. Here's the thing. If you sit down, I think most people think, oh, I'm going to buy all of this stuff after Christmas, all this Christmas decorations, and I'm going to like put it in storage or put it in the corner of my office, and then I'll pull it back out next Q4. Think about all that money that you have sitting there that you, I don't know, say you spend $500 on all this Christmas clearance and all this stuff. Then you just have, it's basically like you just took that $500 and stuck it in the corner and you're doing nothing with it, right? You want your money to work for you. So I will tell you right now, and I think it's the next slide and I'm not going to get ahead of us, but if you look at Keepa, you guys, Christmas stuff sells year round. Don't ask me why. I mean, I could probably come up with some reasons people like Christmas. Sometimes there are reasons that people just are like, hey, let's do Christmas in July. Or there's just things that they just think about that they want to get for next Christmas. I don't even really know. People have their reasons. And if you sell on Amazon, sometimes you just need to say, I don't care what their reason is. If it sells, I'll send it in. So Christmas stuff does really sell year round. Now, when you look at Keepa, you'll notice, does it really sell for the same amount? Is it still profitable? Whatever. So you can make those decisions. But if you just spend a bunch of money and set it in your office, think about if you actually sent that stuff in, please send it in or don't buy it. If you send it in, then you get the return on that investment, and then you can keep flipping that over. How many more times can that money grow between now and next Christmas?
Right.
It's so much better to keep your money moving. I mean, there are a handful of few things that I would say possibly maybe hold on to. In my experience, Lego is one of the very few things that I would potentially hold on to, only because it increases in value. There are a few random things that would increase in value. Christmas clearance is not notoriously one of those. So, but I do have things that I'll send in. I found some random clearance things before, like Christmas stuff, and sent it in like March, and it sells.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not going to sell at the rate it would sell in November or necessarily for the same price. But if you look at Keepa, that'll help you with that. Just don't spend all of that money, please, and then just stuff it in a corner. Let that money grow and continue to build your business with that. I know it's really tempting because stuff is so cheap, but I'm telling you, if you want to go ahead and buy that, absolutely buy it. I buy all kinds of seasonal clearance and I love it. It's not a replan, but it's just bonus to your shipments. There's no reason why you can't, but then send it in, do the research and let that money keep selling and let it keep growing. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Next.
This is my favorite.
Sure to extend the Keepa graphs to at least a year.
Yes. If you are looking right now, I'm sure you guys know a lot of things tend to grow, inflate in price right around the last couple of months. Q4, especially December, people were running out of things. Amazon may have just run out of stock for the only time the whole year. You need to extend the Keepa graph for that reason, longer than just like the last month or two. But I also say at least a year. really, I pretty much do this all the time, but especially now, because you're looking at, there may be some seasonal things where maybe this stuff sells really well, certain months out of the year, but going into January, February, the price just bottoms out, or people just don't buy that stuff in January and February. So make sure you're extending that out to see what Amazon looks like, what the sales look like, because they're not going to be the same in January and February as necessarily as they were, November, December. So make sure you're expanding that out to get a better picture. Is it seasonal? What's the price look like in January? As I'm looking ahead, maybe it's sold for a really high price in November, December, but January typically tends to be really cheap. So those are just things to look at when you're getting ready to send more product in, because you're going to keep sending more product in. So,
all right. Last tip.
Yes.
And we'll talk about legends a little bit, and then we'll take questions. Stay in community. And guys, I'll tell you, this is probably one of the keys of all of tonight is having people that you surround yourself with that get what you do. Because I imagine maybe some of you were at Christmas time with family and talking about your Amazon business, and you had that uncle that says, I thought Amazon just sold books. And you think, well, no, Uncle, I've been making money on Amazon for the last 5 years, and they just don't understand. God bless them. They don't know what they're doing. They think this internet thing's crazy. They know they buy stuff on Amazon, but they think that Amazon is the one sourcing all those things. And yeah, you guys know that Amazon sells a lot of stuff, but Amazon relies heavily on you and me and third-party sellers. So
you're not trying to sell them your, whatever program you have, you're not trying to sell your essential oils to them. They don't have to worry about you no, it's just different, they don't have to, you can have these conversations and they don't have to be like, oh no, they're going to start talking about trying to sell me stuff. No, you're already buying it. You just don't know it's from me. So,
hey.
It is really good. And honestly too, some of that's just the tips and the things that you learn. I can't even tell you, it is substantially changed and transformed how much knowledge and information I've had just hearing other people be like, oh yeah, I tried this and this really worked. And you're like, what? I would have never even thought of that. Being a part of a group of other sellers that have similar situations, oh man, Amazon is responding this way. What in the world do I do? You're going to hear from other people how they've handled things, how to not do things, like don't hold on to Christmas stuff. I guarantee there are a lot of people that have done that until they talked to other people and said, wait a minute, let's crunch the numbers here. That doesn't even make sense, So having other like-minded people that understand how this business works, that you can have the conversations with, that you can ask the questions. Let's be honest, seller support is not the best place always to go for your questions. So finding other people that actually get it is huge. It really is. And it can transform your business. Just being around other people and asking those questions, how do you prep this? How do you set up this? What do you do at the prep center? There are just so many things that if you're part of a group of other sellers that know how to do this, that know what they're doing, or just to have those conversations, it makes it so much easier.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.